It's Dan Hershkowitz. I am here today to tell you about the new San Francisco Association of Realtors, new and revised forms for December 2023. The estimated release date is December 19th. So if you are watching this before, it will happen then. If you are watching this after, it has already happened. So let's see what those new and revised forms are on the next slide. Excellent. We have one new form, the San Francisco Entertainment District Advisory and Disclosure. Believe it or not, there is a law which basically says the following. A seller or rental property owner is required to disclose if the property is located within 300 feet of certain, quote, places of entertainment, such as bars and nightclubs. So we have developed an advisory that explains the requirements and a disclosure form. Next slide. The disclosure must be made by the seller in conjunction with their TDS and Section 1102 of the Civil Code disclosures, or by a landlord in conjunction with the lease agreement. The form serves, as I mentioned, as both an advisory explaining what's required and also as the disclosure itself. Upon completion, the disclosure form must be sent to the director of the Entertainment Commission. All of the addresses, all of the signatures, all of the requirements are set forth on the form, as is a few references to websites taking you to the Entertainment Commission and allowing the seller to see in detail where some of these entertainment venues exist. Next slide. The Gibbs form, our general information for buyers and sellers, has also been updated to revise this places of entertainment disclosure requirement. You will see a new paragraph 55 that explains the rules and gives us a citation to the new law. Next slide. We've also updated the San Francisco purchase agreement, but they're very minor changes, and they're all about standardizing approved nomenclature, style, and format, making sure that the language itself is consistent. So honestly, nothing really to worry about here. Next slide. But on this slide, what we did show you was a reminder of the last most significant change, which was a new paragraph 15, which tells us that this agreement is contingent upon buyers' investigation of the availability and affordability of insurance for the property. Remember that the insurance contingency used to be part of the investigation contingency. It is now its own separate contingency. And you will see, by the way, California Association of Realtors will be making a similar change in June of next year. Okay, next. Well, what about the residential earthquake risk disclosure? So recall when the property is built before 1960, there's a requirement to provide that booklet, and attached to that booklet is a question, actually several questions all put together. I think there's 10 or 11 of them. That's the residential earthquake risk disclosure. The seller's checking boxes, saying things like there is or isn't a cripple wall, and other very specific questions, or I don't know is also a choice. Well, we have a version of that form, and so too does CAR. And so now when you pull up our version, it will redirect you to the California Association of Realtors version, which is also in the zip forms, etc., in their ePubs library. Now, there were a couple of specific questions that we added regarding gas shutoff valve and a couple of other questions. We have folded those questions into the San Francisco seller disclosure. Next slide. Speaking of which, here is the San Francisco seller disclosure, and these are some of those new questions. So here in section D for all properties, there are questions: are there post-to-beam connections at the basement or garage level? That's a retrofit issue. Question 14, does the basement garage level have perimeter walls? If so, are they reinforced by plywood, shear wall, or other means? Those kind of questions belong together with other questions regarding the building and retrofit, and they are now together in the San Francisco seller disclosure. Next slide. So too are the questions that we used to have separately on our earthquake disclosure regarding the automatic gas shutoff valves. And here is that question: does the property have natural gas supplied to it? And then if yes, are the meters enclosed? Has an automatic gas shutoff valve been installed? Are they manual, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. And the next one. And finally, there was a bit of a mistake, typo kind of thing. In the San Francisco seller disclosure, we unintentionally duplicated one of the questions and unintentionally removed this question. It has been added back. Question 24 in the condo TIC co-op section. Are there any restrictions on leasing the unit? This question has been restored. Okay, what about another form? Well, we just have a couple of other forms that were updated as required. We have a template creation form, and if you don't know this form, well, you don't know this form. But for those of you who are looking for a very easy way to create templates, we actually have a form that allows you to click boxes and set up a template inside Zip Forms. That template gives you the name of forms that you would commonly use. It doesn't have all the forms, but it has many that you would commonly use. A couple new forms have been added. So this buyer's homeowner insurance advisory, that's a new CAR form that comes out this December 2023. And also the EPUB earthquake hazard report form that we just talked about. So if you click those boxes, those forms will be drawn into your template. And next, yes, the fixtures and personal property preferences form. This is a new form as of like 2 years ago. And you often are using this by putting this form into your disclosure packet. It's a way for the seller to tell the buyer what the seller would like with regards to the buyer's choices of personal property and fixtures. And so it's pre-printed. It replaces paragraph 19A of the purchase agreement that talks about fixtures and fittings and what's included and what isn't. And of course, it's only replacing that if both parties execute it as part of the contract. That form was updated to make sure that the paragraph references all match up. It now does. And I think finally, do we have another? Maybe we don't. Okay, well, we did it. I will declare it a success. I thank you very much for your participation, and we will see you soon. Bye, everybody.